Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Career Change Champions podcast. I'm your host, Tonya Montella, and today I have with me Kathleen Ribeiro. Kathleen, welcome, and thank you for being here.
Thank you. I'm super excited to being here.
So, a quick background story worth mentioning, I feel. You and I met through a networking group that we're part of. It's an exclusive networking group for women in the Boston area. And I remember the first event that I went to actually is when I met you, and you were just a ball of energy. You were so bright and fun and, full of confidence. And I could just tell you really had your shit together. And I think that, that's the energy that I like to be on. So I think that's kind of why we ended up coming together at that event. But shout out to Busy Women Social for bringing us together. I'm not sure we would have met otherwise.
Yeah, no, I'm glad you thought of that of me.
Absolutely. So a little more about Kathleen for those listening. Kathleen went from managing a six-figure family business for 8 years to being a full-time virtual assistant in just 4 months, which I think is just incredible. This career change, of course, required a lot of focus and determination to create something she can now call her own. And she shared with me how she's now so proud of the value that she gives to herself and her clients. And I love the part that you said that you bring value to yourself. So I want to hopefully get into that a little bit later. But tell me a little bit about this family business. How did you get started? What were you responsible for there?
So it got started, I say 8 years, but it was my father's actual family business. So I was there since I was like 14. It was my first paycheck. I took a picture with the paycheck and everything. And then a few years ago, he actually sold it due to health issues. So I went from just everything you can imagine in running a business, really. It's payroll, it's customer service. It was a body shop. So it was ordering parts, talking to insurance, talking to customers, making sure that the guys in the back know what they're doing. So, project management of that, managing others. It was everything, paperwork, keeping office supplies up to date, keeping parts and paint and everything. And it was just anything that had to do with running that business I was doing. So then he sold, and I wasn't in a position to leave myself. Mm-hmm. I remember applying to a bunch of jobs because I was like, I don't want to be here if my dad's not here. The only reason I am here is because my dad's here. And then there's that Latino background where you have to be there for family. So it was I was never able to leave. I started applying to jobs and I was like, I really want to be picky about it. I want to have a balance with my life, because at that point I was answering phone calls at 9:00 at night, 7 a.m. in the morning. My phone's off the hook all the time. And I was like, I want something different. So I stayed with the company that I was with, and it was under different management. And I just wasn't happy with the way it was. I'm very loyal. I'm honest. I don't bat an eye when something is not going, something bad is going on. So I found myself in many altercations of just wanting to be that honesty and truthful. And a lot of people don't have it these days. And that's something that I find when I went to be a VA is I want to have that connection, that genuine, honest connection, communication with my clients. So I definitely brought that over. And then the beginning of the year, my New Year's resolution was I have to get out of here. I am sad every single day that I have to go to a company that doesn't value me, doesn't value its customers, barely values themselves. And I saw it go to a six-figure, and it was running well, and it was a well-oiled machine to completely start breaking down in aspects that I could no longer control. Mm-hmm. Don't get me wrong, everybody was getting their paychecks, customers were getting called, parts were getting ordered. It was the background of that, of something I can't control anymore. And it fell apart. So I was depressed. I was lashing out in friends and family just because I just wasn't in a good spot. And then that's when we started. I read a post on Facebook. It was like a silly meme. And I was like, find a few local businesses and help them with customer service. And that can be a side hustle. And I was like, yeah, I can do that. And I was like, okay. And then I kind of started looking more into it because I was like, I'm worth more than just doing customer service. I've been running a business for so long, and I'm young and I can still grow. And that's when I got into the virtual assistant world, and I didn't know about it at all. I had not a clue as to what it was, what it entailed, nothing. And all of a sudden, I am deep into an entrepreneurial virtual assistant world. And I was just like, this is me. And on a computer, I was like, I can do this. So I started that in January, and it was I have to do this. I have to get out. I have to build something for myself. If I can build it for others, I can build it for myself. And then, yeah, May 1st, I was officially independent. I quit, and I was like, I gave them a 2 weeks. I'm like, hey, it's beginning of May. I'm no longer here. Don't call me. Don't text me.
Yeah.
No longer anybody's emergency contact here. And yeah, I've been riding solo since then.
Oh my God. That's so incredible. So wait, I'm just still so impressed and flabbergasted really at the fact that you were running that business. It sounds like from end to end at such a young age. Was that something that you had to kind of grow into, or was it kind of like 14, boom, like you're answering calls, you're doing this?
So, like I mentioned before, Latino family. So I'm Brazilian, and there was very like at first it was very, I have to do this for my family. I have to help support. But as it grew, because I didn't jump into a six figure, you know what I mean? Like we built it. It turned into the English that my father had, which he speaks English, it's fine, but it came into, he might not know how to do things, or he might not be able to call the bank and get his point across the right way. Just things that you wouldn't really be doing. And I feel like a lot of, Latino and Latinas can understand. It's like, we've been calling doctor's appointments for our family since such an early age that we kind of get used to it. So was I 16 years old making financial decisions with the bank? Yeah. And that just grew. And it's I'm doing this, I'm getting finance loans, I'm just doing all this stuff at a young age. And now I'm only 26, but I have all of this experience. I can say I have years of experience. And they're like, oh, you're too young. No, I have years of experience doing this. I've done it for my family. It's just something where I had with immigrant parents, you're in there. You're not just helping them, you are physically doing it for them. And that came into running the business too. So I was physically there doing everything, things that I shouldn't have known of and stuff like that. I was there.
I love that you share that, because I'm not sure how many people realize or are even familiar with how that works with immigrant families and running a business and having were you born in the US?
Yeah, I was born here. Yeah. And then both of my parents are from Brazil. So it's more of a, at an early age, hey, can you book your own doctor's appointment, or can you call the doctors for me? Or, your school wants me to go, but I need you to, translate for me. And growing up, I always got that. I was helping family, I was helping friends, just anybody that didn't really speak English. And yeah, you're put in situations where you, as a kid or growing up, you shouldn't know certain things, but you're there translating and interpreting. And it's like, this is, the family secrets that you're not supposed to learn at a young age, but you're there interpreting it. So.
And the other part that I find interesting about that is not only are you being that support system for your family, and you mentioned that being very important in your culture, but you're also fast-tracked as you've described your journey, you're fast-tracked to being a professional because you're doing so many things at such a fast rate, at such a young age. And I just find that to be so interesting that you were able to build those skills from that family and immigrant dynamic that kind of led you into being able to pick up being a virtual assistant. And I also like that you mentioned you weren't even sure what it was. That resonates with me, because going into career coaching, I was like, I want to do this. What is this? Like, what is this called something? So
yeah, no, I was sending emails. I first started, again, I came from just nothing. January, I had no clue what this was. No idea. I saw a post and I was like, oh, that seems intriguing, but I'm better than that. How can I make it better? I was calling myself a customer concierge. Like, I just made up a word for myself. I'm like, this is what I am. This is how I'm going to sell myself. So I I pretty much cold emailed hundreds, like at least 500 places, whether near me, around me. I looked at some in Florida. That's where my boyfriend's from. So I was like, oh, if I'm ever down there, at some point I was like, maybe my email doesn't work, because no one got back to me. One person, after I did a follow-up email, said, please stop emailing us.
Stop. No, did they?
I was like, well, at least my email works. And then another person was like, it was a wedding business. They were like, hey, can you check back in May during our busy season? We'll let you know. But out of almost 500 people, I got 2 responses.
Wow.
And I was like, this isn't it. I have to find something else. So I hustled and I made a portfolio and I had a website up, and I started joining groups and I started talking to people. I joined Busy. I joined another place, and I was just like, I just need to get out there. Like, cold emailing isn't it. And then when I finally joined groups, it was like, cold pitching is really annoying. And I was like, I didn't know that, but now I do. So it was literally a journey of how to get into this virtual world, really. Setting up a bank account, getting my doing business status, all that, fine. Whatever brick and mortar place needs to do, I know how to do. But getting into the virtual world and selling myself was something I've never done before. Because, the 9 to 5, it was, I hit my car, can you fix it? Yeah. You know what I mean? You're not selling they need the service.
Right.
But now I'm pitching myself. I've never been a salesperson. I hate calling people and be like, hey, you owe $50. Oh my God, that is mortifying. And then now I'm the product that needs to be sold.
Yep. Yes.
So yeah, definitely a 180 for me.
Yeah. And so when you think about making that transition, I could very clearly see how that is something you seamlessly moved into, given the skills that you had acquired, running the family business. And then, seeing the post, which I also think is really cool, that you were inspired by a meme, it seems like, just online randomly one day. Well, obviously prompted through the emotions you were going through at that time. You probably read it different, since you were going through what you were. And it hit a little bit different for you, I imagine. But I could see how those skills translate. Now, when it comes to what you're saying, where you have to sell yourself, you have to establish a price and, talk about these things that you hadn't done. Was that, or I guess the question is, how did you overcome that? Or did you just kind of make that this is what I need to do because this is what I want to do kind of thing?
So I definitely, in the beginning, probably undersold myself. Like I was like, I need to make enough to cover my bills. That was my biggest thing. A month before the pandemic hit, I bought a house. 24 years old, buying a house for the first time, single, just did it. Yeah. And then the pandemic hit, and I was like, okay. And then, moving away from the 9 to 5, and I was like, okay, I need to make at least how much I was making. And that was my goal. But to be fair, what I was making wasn't the value I was giving to a company. So it was people around me saying, you're worth so much more. You're basically now working for yourself, but working for free, because now you have to worry about taxes and, equipment and stuff like that. And they're like, you're worth more. So I looked at what other people were doing. And I listened to other people that help coach VAs, and I try to put myself kind of in the middle to what I was comfortable with. And then with each client, with each, pat on the back I was getting, and I was like, you're right, I'm good. So I was like upping my charges and stuff like that. Until right now, it's where I'm comfortable of keeping it for a set rate. But I was definitely like, oh, you could just pay me this much. And it was like, no, what I'm doing is a lot more.
Yeah.
And then I found out the hard way was, well, I guess maybe not the hard way, was time is money. Entrepreneurs have so many ideas and so much to do. They don't want to do it. I personally love doing the crappy tasks that people don't like to do. Data entry and just putting things in the computer. Love it.
Love it.
You know what I mean? Just like I was doing an email management project this morning. This lady had over 18,000 emails.
Oh, wow.
In her inbox.
Mm-mm.
Within 2 hours, I had deleted it down to the 30 that she actually needed in there and categorized the rest.
Mm-hmm.
Does anybody have 2 hours to just, hey, I'm going to look through all my emails? No.
No, that's why it got to the amount it got to. She was like, nope.
Yeah. So it was definitely finding my worth, trying to get rid of imposter syndrome, doing what I really like to do and doing it for myself.
And I think everything that you just said is so important, but one thing that stands out to me is your value and what people were saying to you and recognizing that. One of the exercises I take my clients through, when they're going through a career change, entails them reflecting on the things that they're good at, but also I encourage them to ask others, because I think it's easy to hear these things along the way. Oh, you're so good at that. Or, oh, you just have a knack for this, Kathleen, those sorts of things. But, they're nice in the moment, but you don't keep them in your brain for long term. And so to actually sit down and reflect on, like, what do I know that I'm good at? And then what do a lot of people say that I'm good at? Because a lot of times I think that's the part that you forget. And so you understood what you were good at. And then it just so happened to be that those are the things you also really love. So it kind of sounds like it was a no-brainer.
Yeah, I get a lot recently, hey, you're really good at following directions. And I was like, well, yeah, the directions. And they're like, no, but like, I was like building something. They're like, you're really good. And I was like, yes, I'm following the directions. You can't go wrong. They're like, yeah, no, I just can't do that. And I was just like, it really hit me because I was like, I don't understand. I'm reading directions, but it's a lot of people don't take the time to do things the right way, to organize their thoughts, to be able to read the directions, and then organize how they're supposed to read the directions, manage their time doing it, and then just following directions. Like you get emails, countless emails of, the person ends with their name, and a lot of people will still spell people's names wrong.
Yes.
It's the attention to detail that is thrown out the window. And I never realized that following directions that were taught in school doesn't cross over to adulthood. Not a lot of people do it. And it's one of those things where I didn't realize that's a skill, but it is because people don't do it.
Yeah. Oh, you're right. And attention to detail is so key for me. And to your point about when people don't do it, it seems hard to wrap your brain around. It's like, but this is just, it seems so simple, but yeah, I think it's a lost skill, to your point, and a valuable one because of that. So I like that. I'm curious. So obviously, anytime someone's going through a career change, it's scary. Oftentimes people don't know what they want to do next. So I like that you shared, how you figured it out, and kind of how you went through those thoughts to put the pieces together and end up, going down the route of a virtual assistant. Oftentimes too, they lack confidence and courage to even make a move because it's very easy to just stay with the devil, as they say, and just like stay with the job because the thought of even going and looking for another job or figuring out a career, like that can seem very daunting. So I'm curious, given your experience and your journey, what advice would you give to those who are experiencing some of those feelings right now?
The little wins, as small as they are, let them overcome you. Just take the little wins and run with it. Use that as your motivation to keep going because there's going to be a lot of losses. The first week, I was like, yeah, this is it. I had a client ghost me and not pay. Another client wanted to push. I'm still not paid. Another client wanted to push back our, I think of a set amount of hours that I need to do. She was like, oh, I have to push it back. So I was like, okay, well, I'm out of this amount of money. And then she's pushing the hours that I thought I would have this week. So there's always going to be losses,
Mm-hmm.
but the little wins have kept me going. Yesterday, I closed a client. Did I meet her before? No. Did we have one phone call, 15-minute phone call? And she was like, yes, I want to book you. Okay. And then she paid up front. That
Yes.
I'm still on that high. Like, I'm still going after it because I was like, wow. When people actually do see your value, instead of saying, oh, you're too expensive, and it's like, oh, you're this. No, like, you're gonna get that. But every single, even if a client goes, wow, you did a great job, or just take it, exaggerate it, and just make it your motivation to keep going.
I love that. And I appreciate what you say about the knowing your value again. You said it before, and I'm hearing you say it again. And you even mentioned it in the value that you're finding you get, for yourself in the work that you're doing now. And I think it's so important because I think, well, I'll speak for women. I can't speak for everybody, but I think more disproportionately for women, we often forget our value. We lose ourselves in all the other things that we are for all the other people. And so remembering our worth and our value and sticking to that, and not faltering on that. It sounds like that's something that's kept you ahead and kept you going and kept you, getting to where you are today. So kudos on that.
Thank you. And then now that you mention it, I didn't realize I said it so many times, but I don't say my value is in I'm super expensive. I don't think that. I think that, taking away minimum wages and stuff like that, I am in a living like wage. That's how I see it. I'm able to pay my bills. I'll be able to pay some of my debt. I'm not going on luxury vacations, next week. My rates aren't like out of this world. I'm not saying that. But I'm also saying that you can't pay me $16 an hour and expect me to do all of your admin, all your tech tools, project management, you get what you get.
Yep.
If you're paying $16, they maybe have one task. They might not be great at it, or they might be starting out. It's not that, but it's also, not affordable to most business owners.
Right. Yeah, no, that's really important. So I'm glad that you mentioned that. How can people get in touch with you?
Email. I like email, so that way I can give myself quiet hours. Instagram, DMs, Facebook message, any social platform. Even with my clients, I say I'm technically available 24/7. I'm always have my phone. I'm one of those
Yeah.
where I always have my phone. Are you able to reach me? Yes. Will something get done? Maybe not. But yeah, definitely email, social media, definitely reach out. Drop something in the comments. I love to see what other people are doing or what they have to say too.
So then share for everybody listening what your Instagram handle is and what your email address is.
So email is Kathleen, Kathleen at kmservice.co, not .com, Kathleen at kmservice.co. Instagram is at _kmservice.
Love it. Awesome.
Nice and easy.
Yeah, I always love easy. Thank you so much for being here and sharing your journey and sharing the advice that you have for others who are going through or maybe contemplating a career change. I'm so happy for you that you've been able to find the joy and fulfillment on the other side, as I tend to say. And I can't wait to continue watching your growth.
Thank you. I was nervous but excited. So
Yeah,
thank you.
of course.